Welcome to the Ascend Your Success podcast. Whether you're just starting out or are a veteran looking to grow your business, you're in the right place. Join us to learn how to achieve financial freedom while working and living life on your own terms. Hear valuable insights, strategies, and interviews with successful entrepreneurs. Get ready to achieve the success you've always dreamed of. Ready? Let's go.
What's going on, guys? My name is Wyatt Reed, and this is the Ascend Your Success podcast. And today I got my business partner, Jacob Ninan, with me. We are starting episode 2 of our How to Get Started in Real Estate series, and we're going to be talking about one of our favorite topics, lead generation. So, Jacob, there are 2 buckets when we talk about lead generation. Actually, let's back up real quick. On the last episode, we talked about vision and budget. So hopefully before you get started in this, you have already sat down, you've already thought about your vision and your budget. And so one of the reasons why we do the budget is so that we know if we have money left over every month to set a budget for paid leads. Now, you don't have to get started with paid leads because my first 5 houses come from free lead sources, right? But it helps to know, and it helps slingshot you into doing better, juicier deals because you're direct to seller, right?
Yep.
So there are 2 buckets when it comes to lead generation. You got the free bucket and the paid bucket. So let's talk about some free lead sources first.
So yeah, free lead sources. I think pretty much anybody on here, anybody watching either has a Facebook group. Some of the younger crowd kind of shy away from Facebook, but I always tell my kids and everyone else, like, I've never been able to monetize Instagram or, anything like that. So I've done so much business through Facebook. That's how we met, how I found deals, business partners, all kinds of things. So anyway, one of my biggest ones would be Facebook, specifically Facebook groups. So whatever market you're in, you can get on there and search, we're in Atlanta. So, Atlanta real estate investing or whatever. And there's prominent ones in this market, but there's, I'd say, probably tens, if not hundreds of different groups that you can get in. And why, you ask? For most of you on this probably know what a wholesaler is. Wholesaling is essentially when you contract a property and you turn around and find an end buyer that you're assigning the rights to that contract to buy the property. So essentially you're getting in these Facebook groups, raising your hand, throwing out there like, hey, I'm Jacob Ninan, local real estate investor. I'm looking to buy a house, 2 houses, however many houses. So if you want to go ahead and put exactly what you're looking for on that post, you can. Or if you just want to get bombarded with emails and be able to sort through as many deals as you want, then you just say, hey, I'm a cash buyer buying. Here's my email, or however you want to be contacted. And you just start blasting in all those groups. And I promise you, you're going to get leads. Now, not all leads are created equal. Doesn't mean it's a lead that'll turn into a deal, but you will get leads. So as far as free leads, in my mind, that's probably one of the quickest, easiest ways to generate free leads. I don't know, wholesalers and Facebook groups kind of one and the same. Facebook just makes it really easy to make those connections with the wholesalers and also put your email out there so that you can land on however many wholesalers lists you're going to land on. So when I say lists, essentially most of these people that are wholesaling are doing email blasts or text blasts. So you're going to sit there and get emails daily from these wholesalers, basically presenting their deals, addresses, ARVs, asking prices, stuff like that. So yeah, that's those kind of one and the same. Now, the issue that I see a lot of people run into with these free leads is they think that they're just going to come to them. It's not. You have to get up every day, be very intentional, and make sure that you're seeking out these leads, even though they are free.
Yeah. I want to take a quick step back real quick because we often talk at a 10 because that's just where we're at this point, right? And a lot of you guys are just getting started. So a lead and a deal are 2 different things, right? A lead is somebody who raises their hand, right? And says, hey, I'm interested in buying, or I'm interested in selling, or something like that. It's just somebody who raises their hand. It doesn't mean that it's a good deal, right? And it doesn't mean that it's a deal. And so, like Jacob was saying, I think the first step would be starting a separate email account. So the first thing that I did when I got started in real estate was I started a separate email account. Don't overthink this. This is something that can be done in seconds. Go to Gmail. I think my first company was SMT House Buyer. So I got smthousebuyer@gmail.com. I've got Reed for Reeds, right? Wyatt buys houses, Jacob buys houses, homes, properties, whatever. Don't overthink it. Just get it, because you're only using it to get leads. So don't overthink that. So get a new email account and go on these Facebook groups. And this is how I got my first 5 houses. Go on Facebook, go up to the search bar or go to the side where it says groups and just type in wholesale or type in real estate. And all of these groups are going to pop up, and you get in every single one of them, and you go and the cool thing, here's a nugget for you. I didn't know this back when I first started. So I was going through I was just scrolling for hours and replying to people who posted, hey, I've got a deal, and saying, hey, will you send me your deals? You can actually go on and in the search bar of the group and type in assignment, and it'll pull up all of the posts that have to do with assignments of contract.
Yeah.
So I tell people,
county or city specific.
Yeah. And I tell people to specifically go to that post, comment your email, your new email, say, hey, I'm a buyer. Will you please send me information? And then I go a step further and I go and DM that person directly, and I say, hey, I'm a buyer in the area. Will you please send me what you've got active now? Because what I seen was that if I commented on that one post, then I would get that deal, get that lead, right? But if I went and I DM'd them and I said, hey, will you send me everything you have active? I would actually get 2 or 3 leads from that person. And so it's just a way to get a few more leads up, right?
Yeah, and building that kind of pipeline, so to speak, is important. When you're new, you just work on it every single day. Obviously, you're not going to have a huge capacity for deals, so it's really about just getting as many leads as you can so that you can find a deal. And then, of course, it grows from there. One other thing that a lot of people don't do a good job at is what we call agent outreach. So, I mean, you can find agents on Facebook similarly, but you can also find agents just by going and looking at, if you're driving around and you see for sale signs in yards, I mean, you can find agents that way. You can get on Zillow if you don't have access to certain tools like Zillow. Going to Zillow.com is super, super easy and it's free. You can actually look up like homes that, there's filters you can set on there, and you can look up homes that sold under a certain price point or with specific wording like investor special or, whatever. And you look up the agents that are listing these things, and you can reach out to these agents. Usually at the bottom of the listing is like an email or a phone number that you can contact them, and you can, say, hey, I'm a cash buyer. I'm looking for deals. Here's what I'm looking for. If you ever come across something that doesn't, fit the typical real estate, listing, things that's going to need repairs, or this person is more, open to potentially taking a cash offer. It is menial and it's going to take some time. But the thing is once you start closing deals, if you have a realtor or a real estate agent that you're able to connect with that will actually send you some leads, and you end up actually closing one of those, you're going to be their first call or one of their first calls moving forward. So it takes a little bit of time, but it'll produce. I mean, I know people. There's a friend of ours, mutual friend, that's in the South Alabama market. Based on what I know, I mean, he gets 70% of his deals from real estate agents, and he's doing high volume. He's doing 60 plus deals a year. And I know well over half of his deals come from real estate agents who he built a relationship with, and they trust him to close. And so now and that's free marketing, that he's doing that much volume and not spending a dime for it. I mean, he's probably having lunch with these people and taking them out, not to bunny trail, but still the point is it's extremely cheap, if not free.
And to this day, 6 years later, my acquisitions guys still make 5 to 8 offers a day on the MLS. So you go do exactly what Jacob said. Sit down, give yourself an hour, sit down, get on Zillow, and you can go through. For me, I like to filter things, which you could be in a different market, like Jacob's in a different market, and it's going to be different for him. I filter under $200,000 properties, and we just go from there. Like Jacob said, if you click on that property and you scroll down towards the bottom, the agent will be on there that listed it. Their phone number will be on there, and we're just sending texts saying, hey, I'm a local investor in the area. I seen you have this house listed on 123 Main Street. I've got, do we give the offer right there? I think we do. We say, hey, we'd like to make an offer on
Yeah.
a cash
Texting,
offer.
you're just trying to open up the conversation. We do both. We text, we email. A lot of agents are really good at checking their email a lot of agents aren't good at checking anything, but most of the agents that we're getting responses back from, we're getting back via email. It's just easier to track, and you can kind of present in a formal capacity like an offer, because the last thing you want to do is go waste another agent's time who's sitting there and writing offers for you, especially when you're doing this in bulk or in volume. You're kind of checking the temperature. But yeah, like you said, it costs you your time, but this is stuff you could do on your lunch break while you're, at the W-2. You go out into the car, get on your laptop and filter up, send some emails, send some text messages. Like, this is stuff you can do, stuff that I did to start bringing in deals. And I think it's a very undervalued thing with the real estate agent outreach thing. Cause what I always tell my team is we're looking for motivated sellers. Who is more motivated than someone that has their house listed for sale? Like, clearly we've already checked the biggest box, and that's, do you want to sell your house? Clearly the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So a couple things I'll add with that, not to go too deep in the weeds on it, but he did mention filtering under a certain price point. Obviously that's going to be market specific, depending on what market you're in. What where the low side of pricing is. And then also I would include days on market. If I listed my house yesterday and you're reaching out to me trying to buy my house for half of what I have it listed for, chances are you're not going to get a response from me, or, from some people, you might get a colorful response. But if you're looking at homes that have been on the market 45, 60, 90 plus days and it's not sold, clearly there's a problem, whether it's with the property or the person's just not willing to negotiate, whatever, you don't know. But regardless is, it's been on the market for a while. Chances are that their motivation level has increased, usually increased significantly. But one thing I'll point out is when you're looking at photos, if you notice the house is empty, that's also another kind of sign, like either they lived there and they moved out, or it was a rental property and they got a bad tenant out or whatever. But long story short, if the place is empty, no one's monetizing it as a rental. And if it's empty and they're not living there anymore, now they're covering sometimes 2 mortgages. So that pressure is there. So that's kind of a nugget to look for. Not saying I want you to go and mine through every listing and see if there's no furniture in it. Doesn't mean that there's plenty of deals you'll find where someone's still living in it or they have a tenant.
Okay.
You just never know. But the days on market is kind of an indicator. One thing that it's probably beat to death, you guys have heard it a million times, but driving for dollars, in the grand scheme of things, is free other than costing you some time and some gas to ride around. I did do this early on in my career. I don't necessarily believe it to be like a scalable model, but as far as like what we're talking here with getting your first deal or getting a first few deals, it's definitely valuable. And the beauty of the driving for dollars list is it's organic and no one else in the world has that specific list. Now there may be properties you find and you write down or tag, however you want to do it, that end up on someone else's list because it's specifically something going on with that house that allowed it to be in a data set somewhere that someone could pull. But I don't know of any data list out there that pulls a list for tall grass.
Right.
Or, that kind of stuff. So we have found deals that way. We've made pretty good profits on deals that way. So yeah. And we're not talking about doing anything crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Your drive to work, to and from work, or your drive to drop your kids off at school, or the drive on the way to the grocery store. There might be a couple of neighborhoods in that direction. Peel off into those neighborhoods and just keep your eyes up. Look for distress. Look for, is the mailbox overflowing with mail? I mean, maybe it's vacant. Is the place look run down? What does that mean usually? That the person either A, it's abandoned, or B, the person just financially can't afford to keep up the house. Normally, not saying always, but there's other factors lining up now. And now we're looking at financial distress to where potentially this person's open to an offer. Things just like that.
Or just look for the ugliest house in the best neighborhood, because we have a flip going on in a very, very nice neighborhood in Huntsville. And every time we drive there are a couple of houses that just like really don't, they're outdated. They don't fit what's around them, right? They've been there for so long, nobody's updated them. And so what we'll do, and we'll talk about this in the paid leads, is we will skip trace those houses using PropStream, and we'll get those people's phone numbers and we'll call them and we'll say, hey, are you interested in selling your house? And so, but I did want to back up just a little bit and say, I know what you're thinking right now listening to all of this. Hey, this is great. This is cool. But I don't even know what to say whenever I do reach out to these people. I don't even know how to run numbers. So our next episode is going to be on how to communicate with people. What information do you need to get from the people to make an offer and to run your numbers? And then the next episode after that is going to be how to run numbers. So these will be series episodes that you'll probably need to watch like back to back so that you can be confident in your ability to do these things, right? So, but yeah, and to go along with that, the driving for dollars things, there's another free lead source called for sale by owners, and these are just people who don't want to list with an agent, and you see the signs in the yard all the time, and if you don't now, you'll see one, and then you'll see all of them.
Yeah,
We see all of them.
So I will say this, when you get into real estate, especially if you ever drive for dollars, I tell people this all the time, when you get into real estate, it ruins you. There will be houses that you've passed for years and didn't realize they were there, and all of a sudden they're like highlighted and just stand out to you. So be prepared for that much, because you're looking for a deal, constantly looking at everything from the lens of a deal. But the for sale by owner thing, yeah, like again, the number one question we're asking is, what determines if someone's motivated to sell? Well, the fact that they want to sell. So for sale by owner is a pretty sure giveaway there. The question already has been answered. Why don't you just list with a real estate agent? Well, because they're already listing it themselves. They probably have an issue with paying a commission or something like that, whatever reasoning they have behind it. But now you're negotiating directly with the seller. So that's a pretty good option. As far as the free leads, there's some more granular things we could talk about with that, but from just a surface level there.
I'd say these are the top ones that we use and we see people use and we teach people to use because they work, right? There are several more. You can go on YouTube, you can go on BiggerPockets, you can go on ChatGPT, you can find hundreds and hundreds of strategies to do this, but we're going to tell you what we use and what works for us.
And we use this every day in our business. We're still buying deals from wholesalers. We're still working with agents. Don't really do the driving for dollars thing that much. I mean, if I see something, I might shoot a text to one of my guys and say, hey, this is an address. Can you check into this and let's see how we can contact the seller? But as far as the Facebook groups, the wholesalers, the real estate agent outreach, I mean, we use that all the time. The last couple of flips I bought were from wholesalers. So yeah, super powerful. It doesn't matter at what level you're at. And I know guys that are doing way more than me operationally that still have full-blown systems for this, where someone on their team does nothing but reach out to wholesalers every day or reach out to agents every day. So it's free, it's powerful, and you've now created, instead of having an in-house team that you got to pay to go source deals, you have a team kind of working for you at all times, especially when you constantly check in. That doesn't cost you any money.
So funny, because before we started this episode, we said we're going to hard stop this at 20 minutes. Well, it's been 20 minutes and we're halfway through. So let's finish this off. For me, when I first started in real estate, I'd done the free leads because I was living paycheck to paycheck.
So should we make this one with paid leads, or should we do another one for paid leads?
I think we can just do this whole thing. Okay. Do this whole thing. Get it. I started out with free leads, and I know you did. You did too. You had free leads going, and so like I think that's the most important. But we'll talk through these paid leads too, because you may have some money set aside, and so something I want to ask you real quick for a new beginner, what do you think a good budget would be? But this is different in every market. But what do you think the budget would be to get their first deal? Because like just because you set a $500 budget a month doesn't mean you're going to get a deal every month. That means you may get a deal every 3 months, right? So what do you think a good budget is for paid leads to be able to get a deal?
So before I say that, I will say I personally believe that you should press really hard on the free leads and try to land a deal that way first. I'm a huge advocate for let the real estate pay for the real estate kind of thing, meaning let's work really hard on getting your first deal. Let's monetize it. And then let's look at what you made and see how we can create a budget from that to start your paid traffic. But assuming that, kind of like my route, or you had the ability and the money to kind of set a budget to begin with, it's really just going to be based on your individual budget. I don't know that I could place a specific number on it, just because not everyone is created equal in the terms of what their budgets look like. But What's more important to me than the dollar amount is setting a budget where you can run it for a certain period of time. So we'll just use a round number. Let's say $1,000. If you said, I have $1,000 right now, I can commit to paid leads or paid marketing. I'm going to say, hey, great. How can we stretch that over the course of 90 days? Let's call it 3 months. Because very rarely will you do marketing and like immediately get a deal. I say very rarely, it happens,
Yeah.
but we more times than not find people get discouraged because they take their entire amount that they had, whether it's their savings or whatever, they sold something and had some money, and they spend it all at one time. And 30 days go by and they don't get a deal, and they think, oh, this isn't for me, or this is a scam, or this doesn't work, or whatever, when they could have built that up. And like, I know $1,000 in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot of money when it comes to marketing, but if you would have chopped it up over the course of 3 months and you could have consistently done something, you'll see much more fruit yielded in the consistency than you will in just the one big shot. So when it comes to the paid stuff, that's what I usually like to. Anybody that's already in our program or in the mastermind is watching this, they're going to be like, Jacob has preached this to me over and over. Like, if I got a deal closing next week, I'm going to make $20,000. And after I pay myself and pay this and pay off these things I have, I'm going to have $7,000. I've only been, and I'm like, great. And they're like, yeah, I've only been spending like $2,000 every 3 months on marketing. I'm thinking about upping it to 7. And I'm like, well, are you even built for that?
No.
And also, why would you do that? Like, okay, let's baby step it here. Like, we're gonna do this in segments. We don't have to throw it all down at one time. And what I've also found in that is you find out quickly that you don't have an operation big enough to handle $7,000 in marketing, where you have an operation big enough to handle $2,000. So, not to go off on that tangent, but I think it's important to know. So yeah, what I feel like is more important than that. Clearly you can start a campaign, $500, something along those lines, a small batch postcard campaign. We say postcard campaign, we're talking about direct mail. Direct mail is you're sending mail out to specific sellers or specific homeowners based on data that's been aggregated by these companies that we use, like REI Print Mail is one of them, where they're the data people. They're the ones that are finding the motivated sellers, the distressed properties. And then you're just simply saying, here's my area, here's what I'd like to spend. And they're going to do the work with you to determine what needs to be done. But to send a small batch campaign over the course of 4 weeks, you're looking at probably $500. So on the low side scale, I'd say, yeah, for $500, which $500 may be like $1 million to somebody watching this right now. $500 may be like a drop in the bucket to some people watching right now. But either way, regardless of which side you're on, you should be able to do some form of paid marketing for a consistent 30 days with about $500.
Yeah, and I'll preface that by saying this. It truly, truly depends on your market, because, if I say I'm going to spend $500 a month in Atlanta, I'm probably not going to get a deal for 4 or 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have a student in Kentucky, Nowheresville, Kentucky, he'll drop 500 and get like 2 deals that month, right?
Yeah, I think he had some ridiculous response rate. It was like 60%.
Yeah, it was
insane.
So it depends on that. And I want to say this too. My first ever postcard campaign that I did, I went on PropStream and I created my own postcard and I put the wording that I thought I would like and this, that, and the other, and I done everything. And I pulled the list of the people that I thought would sell their house, and I spent like $2,000 and didn't get a single deal. Number one, because I done all of that myself, and I wasn't an expert in knowing what people need to see versus what I think they need to see. And number two, I wasn't consistent. I done exactly what you did, and I spent all my money on the first month. Got a lot of phone calls, but didn't close any deals. And so it's important to for me anyways, I've evolved as a coach, right? You don't know what you don't know. And so I went from telling people, hey, do this, to now when we push paid marketing, we push done for you systems, because there are companies out there that have data that do this nationwide. It's a little bit more expensive, but I think it's so important to let the experts do what the experts do, which is why we work with REI Print Mail. And if you want to work with any of these guys, we're going to talk about some other guys too. If you want to work with the same people that we work with, we're going to put all of the links below in the notes so that you can work with the same people and also get discounts because you came through us. Postcards was my first not my first paid lead source, but it was definitely efficient in what we did once we let the experts handle it and tell us, hey, in your area, you probably need to spend around this much to get a deal. And this is the type of postcards we're going to send. And this is the list that we're going to hit too. They do it all for you. That's why I say it's done for you. And I will always use experts to do that because that response rate was way better and we got deals and
yeah. So you're a real estate investor. You're not a data scientist. You're not a marketing expert. I mean, you'll hear people throw it around constantly. You're sales and marketing. Yes, sales is super key, but understanding your marketing is great and knowing it. But at some point you get to the realization that you got to let the expert handle the marketing and let you work on, the sales and the business side of things. I don't personally think you should be an expert in everything either way. Yeah, I mean, do we want to keep going into this?
Yeah, no, I'll say this. Postcards are on the more expensive side of the lead generation thing. You're looking at like 60, 70 cents for a postcard campaign per postcard. And so you can see how that kind of adds up. But a cheaper form of paid marketing would be something like a Lead Mining Pros, where it's texting and cold calling, right? And so again, like Jacob said, not all leads are equal, but these cold calling and texting leads are probably less motivated to sell because you're reaching out to them, texting them, calling them out of the blue. You're doing the same thing for the postcards, but the postcards go out, they hit mailboxes, and people actually call you back, right? So it's more inbound than it is outbound. And with the texting and cold calling, that's more outbound, right?
So the analogy or scenario I like to give people is, how do you hit more home runs? And the answer I give is more at bats. So cold calling and texting is going to give you more at bats. It's going to bring in more leads. Now, like Wyatt said, not all leads are created equal. Clearly, I think anybody on here, regardless if you're in real estate or not, has enough sense to know that cold outreach, me just randomly calling you or texting you, obviously you're on a list that we've pulled or somehow we've clearly saw that there's some kind of motivation you should have to potentially want to sell your house. But as you all know, if I'm calling you to see if you want to sell your house, I don't know, like I'm hoping you answer the phone and say, yeah, I'd be interested. Whereas if you're getting a letter in the mail and you read it and go, you know what, I am interested in this, and you're calling in, clearly that's going to be a different kind of way of handling that lead. But it's A, more costly, and B, you're not able to bring in as many leads at any given time. I mean, mail can produce quickly, but it also can produce over time. I mean, we still get phone calls to this day. We had a phone call the other day on a campaign that we track our campaigns by different phone numbers. And we got a call the other day. We sent this out over a year ago, and this person they kept it, apparently, maybe put it on their refrigerator or whatever, and finally decided, okay, now's the time, and called us. But with cold calling, there is the ability to go attack a data set and generate a good bit of leads. And like when you discussed the Lead Mining Pros, it's a done for you. So one thing, not to go too deep in the weeds with cold calling, but you can Google it and take 30 seconds of research and know that there's definitely some regulation and some kind of regulatory things and rules you have to follow. Building out your own cold calling operation is great. We ran a really large cold calling operation within our business for a very long time and did really well with it. But again, there's always looking over your shoulder. Are you keeping up with regulation? Are you following the rules properly? That kind of stuff. Whereas a lead mining, it's a done for you. So you're not worrying about the compliance and are things being done correctly? Like they're making sure that's done correctly. as well as the texting. So
Literally all you do is get emails sent to you and saying, hey, these people reached out. Here's what they said. I think the cold calling leads are better than the texting leads because they're literally
for
just
sure.
sending you the text. But you get more detail from the cold calling leads. And like you said, we don't need to get in the weeds because we're already at 30 minutes. But these are our main 2 paid lead campaigns that we do and that we teach beginners to do because they're more along the lines of the cheaper versions. There's so many more paid avenues that you can go to, PPL, PPC, SEO, Facebook ads, bandit signs. I mean, there's so many more that you can do. But again, we want to tell you what's working for us and what is best for newer beginners to get started with. And so just to kind of tidy all of this up, you got your budget set. Now we need to understand, are we going to do free leads or are we going to do paid leads? And if we do paid leads, we still need to do free leads.
Yeah. Never stop doing free leads.
Right. And also your free leads are going to give you more confidence, right? And so being able to move into the next series, which is how to communicate with leads, how to qualify leads, how to make sure, is it a lead or is it a good deal? That's our next series episode. But I just want to say before we finish this off that with your free leads, most of the time you are not direct to seller, right? You're either going through an agent or a wholesaler and you're working with them. So it's a completely different conversation than if you do these postcards and these lead mining pros where you're directly talking to the seller. And that's what we're going to talk about on this next series of how to communicate with sellers and how to vet leads.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, hey guys, if you heard something you liked or you're like, man, I love this, but I really need some help. I need somebody to hold my hand while I'm doing this and tell me, should I do the postcard? Should I do the lead mining? Should I do wholesaler outreach? Like I'm having a hard time deciding what I want to do. Go to ascendyoursuccess.com, fill out the form, and we will talk to you and we'll go through that with you and we'll hold your hand through the process. We'll see. We don't have a VA team. It's just us. So you'll be talking directly to me or Jacob and, we'll figure out, hey, are you a good fit for our community or are we a good fit for you? And so whether you're in or out, we'll see you on the next one.
Take care, guys.